Hello traders, good day to you all. This is Christopher Glen, and today it is the 29th of April 2014. Just as I said yesterday, that I'm expecting to see a very quiet opening for this trading week. We had a quiet Monday, and to tell you the truth, this Tuesday is definitely it's a bit different than what I was expecting. We can see liquidity driven into the market on behalf of the Canadian dollar gaining strength in the market. The euro is losing strength in the markets. As you can see, we had a variety of announcements regarding the euro specifically. We've got an all-day announcement regarding the German and CPI. And we can say that generally the indices are expressing weakness at the beginning of this week, but we can see that several indices are catching up, climbing a bit. So I can tell you that the market is in a bit of a confusion at the moment. Doesn't mean that we can't trade on it, just mean that we need to be very, very careful with our decisions. Later on this trading session, we've got an announcement regarding the US dollar, the consumer's confidence, and the Bank of Canada. I want to talk about the consumer's confidence a bit. Um, just lately, you know what? Let me show you something. I've analyzed the consumer confidence chart. I'm doing it using the elite wave analysis. And 1 second, there we go. Consumer confidence for the last decade, for the last since the beginning of the millennium, we saw that consumer confidence went lower because of the high-tech bubble exploding in 2000, and after that till 2007 we saw an uptrend climbing, and then again 2007 crisis we saw a drop down, and since then again we've got a corrective pattern in an A, a B, and a C, climbing up toward the 80 rate, 82. Let me see if that is the current rate. Consumers confidence, yeah, 82, 82, 83. That's approximately the rate. We can see that it climbed from 70 toward the 80, and that's the current status. Now again, according to the elite wave analysis, we know that we're expecting to see some sort of crisis every several years in the economy, and we saw signs for it in the U.S. economy for the last 2 weeks. We saw that the market is reflecting a large amount of fear, meaning that whenever we see indices falling a bit, then we can see a lot of traders pulling funds out of the market, causing a larger cycle of downtrend on the indices. Again, that was the 2000 crush. This is the 2007 crush. And right now it's 2014. And you know what? That's 7 years. That's 7 years. So that fits the cycle of Elliott wave analysis. A good potential for another crisis is coming up. The question is, what is our expectation? And again, I'm doing it only according to the consumer's confidence. Consumers' confidence. As we can see over here, we've got another announcement regarding the U.S. market's consumers' confidence, and again, that will definitely assist the market to understand what is the effect in terms of economy. Whenever we've got a crisis going on in the financial market, in the U.S. stock market, for example, then the consumer confidence is expected to drop down. Over here, the forecast for this announcement specifically is an uptrend, meaning from 82.3. That was the previous, the expectation, the forecast is 82.9. My expectation is that we will see a downtrend, a fall, because of the last weakness that we saw on behalf of the indices in the United States. I do expect to see a weakness on behalf of this announcement, and therefore I'm expecting the dollar to express weakness out of this announcement at 3 p.m. Again, it is an assumption regarding the last weakness that we saw on behalf of the indices in the United States. That is a general trend, and again, we've analyzed the dollar index several times. We'll do that again. Let's go to the dollar index. The dollar index, there we go, it's over here. Okay, So I said several times yesterday, I told you that I'm expecting to see a continuance of the weakness on behalf of the dollar index. We've received a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and right now we're forming the fifth. I do expect to see a choppy overlapping movement until we will receive the announcement, and then weakness on behalf of the US dollar. That is a good potential that we've got right now for an additional weakness on behalf of the US dollar. That is my assumption according to the potential regarding the consumer's confidence, and I'm doing it. The assumption is because we've received 5 waves over here, the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5, an impulse movement dropping down, and since then we've received an A, a B, and a C pattern climbing up. That is a corrective pattern, and since then we've received the beginning of a potential for an impulse movement. Again, I do expect the dollar to bounce a bit higher and a bit lower for the next several hours until the announcement regarding the consumer's confidence, and then I'm expecting it to drop down. That is the assumption according to the Elliott wave analysis, and I will follow that potential. Now, let's talk about the potential. As I said, um, we've received a strong Canadian dollar in the market, and I can tell you that the Australian dollar is expected to gain strength as well, a bit for the next several days. The pound received bad announcement today, and the euro as well, so I'm expecting them to express an additional weakness. The Swiss franc is approximately in the middle at the moment, and I'm expecting the dollar to express an additional weakness. So a good potential to trade will be using the pound, the euro, and the dollar's weakness, expected dollar's weakness, again put it aside at the moment, in front of the stronger Canadian dollar and Australian dollar in the market. That is the potential at the moment. Definitely I will use the strength of the Canadian dollar, but I remind you that we've got an announcement regarding the Canadian dollar late at night. The Bank of Canada, that's a speech. We can't really refer to that in any way because we don't have a specific forecast. The previous that speech, I'm expecting him to talk about a variety of issues regarding the interest rate and general issues regarding economy. Just an announcement from Bank of Canada. Definitely strong announcement regarding the Canadian dollar. If that will add strength to the Canadian dollar, that will be enormous. Just stronger and stronger Canadian dollar. Now, I want to talk about the Canadian dollar. We've received a weaker Canadian dollar for the last several months. Let's look at the Australian dollar versus the Canadian dollar. That's a great example. A daily chart. Let's look at a weekly chart even. We've got an announcement. We've got an impulse movement dropping down in 5 waves. We've got an A, a B, and a C pattern. And from this point, I said that I'm expecting the Canadian dollar to gain strength in front of the Australian dollar. We can see that the beginning is already on the way. Going to a daily chart, we can see that this downtrend, you know what, let's go to even a lower time frame, a 4-hour chart. We can see that we've completed a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and 5. 5 waves of impulse movement dropping down. Why am I saying impulse? Because the 4th wave is not penetrating the 1st wave structure. At the moment, because we've completed 5 waves of dropping down, the potential at the moment is to see a bit of stronger Australian dollar and weaker Canadian dollar, and then the break of the 3rd wave, which will be enormous of the downtrend. So the potential over here is definitely downtrend for the long period. Again, I remind you that's for our chart. It's not a daily chart or weekly chart. So that's a bit different than my expectations. Again, I was expecting the Canadian dollar to. I said that if the Canadian dollar will receive good announcement out of the expectation of Bank of Canada, then that will definitely give an enormous strength to the Canadian dollar. But analyzing the Australian dollar in front of the Canadian dollar, we can see that the potential at the moment is a weak Canadian dollar in the market. So both dollar and Canadian dollars are expected to express weakness, but the announcement itself regarding the Canadian dollar will be expressed at 8:30 p.m., meaning 5.5 hours after the announcement regarding the US dollar's consumers' confidence. Therefore, I'm expecting the dollar itself to lose strength. Then I can use the strength of the Canadian dollar that we've got right now to express the weakness of the US dollar, and only later at 8:30 p.m. We're expecting the Canadian dollar to lose strength in the market out of the Bank of Canada expression, and therefore I can use the strength of the Australian dollar in front of the Canadian dollar weakening at 8:30 out of the announcement of the Bank of Canada. Just a good example for a plan for today's potential. I remind you this chart is talking about years. It's not the current status. I just talked generally about the potential of seeing crisis in 2014 as an outcome of analyzing the chart of the consumer's confidence. I'd like to wish you all the best with your trades. Have a pleasant day and bye bye.